I was looking for this, found it in my project bag. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 241 of the Love in Stitches podcast. Today we are in Alaska. I just made another cup of coffee because it is the afternoon and I am feeling like tired. We've just been doing a lot, mostly fun stuff, and it's been a total blast here in Alaska. I'll share some about that later in the life segment, but we've been having a great time. Today is our last full day here in Alaska. We go to Hawaii tomorrow, so by the time the podcast comes out, we will be in a completely different environment. I have been wearing my traveler hoodie every single day because it's been nice and chilly here. I've got a window open. We are in an Airbnb, so a nice little place for me to set up. I've kicked Kent out of our room. He's gone down to the common area to do a little work. So I'm excited to share with you my projects today. First though, I want to announce the 50K subscriber winner. So a couple podcasts back, I showed some bags from the Wandering Pearl, and I am giving one of those away for a thank you for getting me to this awesome milestone here on the channel, which is the 50,000 subscribers. So the winner, hold on, I need to pull up your comment here because I took a screenshot just a little bit ago. I just pulled this randomly chose a date between now and when the podcast posted, randomly selected a number and then randomly selected the number on that page. And the winner is Patricia Ferguson. Just said congratulations to us. You know, you just had to leave any kind of comment for that. So you will be winning one of those bags from the Wandering Pearl. So Patricia, when you see this, if you'll send me an email, that would be fantastic, knittydaddy@gmail.com, and I will get your prize to you very, very soon because I'll be heading back to Nashville where it is in just a couple weeks, actually. All right. I think that's pretty much everything at the top of the episode. I just want to thank our sponsor first. Thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring today's podcast. Craftsy is an online community and resource where millions of crafters, makers, and DIY enthusiasts find creative inspiration, advance their skills, and learn new ones along the way. I found a fascinating class on home yarn dyeing by Sarah Iyer. We've gotten to see so many yarn dyers up close with our travels, but I will never get tired of seeing how different people dye their yarn. Maybe you've been wanting to start a yarn dyeing business, or you just want to make a specific color for a special project. Sarah walks you step by step through the yarn dyeing process from the comfort of your home. Another class that caught my interest is Fair Isle Holiday Ornaments by Tanis Gray. I know, it's only August, but the holidays will be here before we know it. Now is the perfect time to get started on holiday gift making. With Craftsy, it's easy to learn from anywhere and to do it on your own time. Classes are broken down into easy to follow lessons and taught from experts that you know and love. Members get access to thousands of inspiring classes, exciting projects, and unlimited mouthwatering recipes. You can jump in wherever you're at because Craftsy has classes from beginners all the way up to masters of their craft. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. Thanks again to Craftsy for being a returning sponsor of the podcast. And now back to the video. Just get a little sip of coffee. Before we carry on, I have very recently, like in the last month, graduated to being a black coffee drinker. It's not my favorite, but it does make it easier for when we're traveling and we can't always have access to the things that we like. So I feel very proud of myself that this is like the first trip where I have not had any kind of creamer, half and half, milk, anything in my coffee. I feel like a real adult, although it doesn't really make you a real adult. It's just how it feels to me. Oh, I'm actually getting warm. I might have to take this off in a second. So the main project I've been working on this week, you saw it last week, it was a baby project, is my color tip tee by Emily Curtis. This is going to be a t-shirt. It has all these fun little details with twisted ribbing on it. It will eventually have a nice little pocket. And I've done a lot in the last week. So I had just, let me think, I just cast on, I think the back is where you start. So I just started the back, worked all of that down through the armhole, then picked up and worked the front. And where I'm at now is I have connected the fronts and the back, and I am now working in the round. I have just started on my second ball of the main color. And then, once I got to that milestone, I thought, well, it would be kind of fun to go ahead and put in the collar and see how that looks. So I've got 3 colors that I'm using to color tip this tee. This first one, I have a ton of it left over because that's all I'm going to use it for. I use it for my swatch. Look at this yarn. It's so beautiful. This is Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sioux Copy, and it is a single ply rambouillet. It's really nice, fingering weight. So I have a ton of this left over, of course. This color is called Nappy, I think. Oh, no, it's not. I think that's the main color. I think this one still has its label. This one, oh yeah, this one's called Dumplin'. And I just updated my project page, so everything is on there now. So the nice light pinky orangey color is Dumplin'. So I'm done with that. I actually had this as well, because I think I wound off a little bit by hand to do my swatch. And then the main color is Nappy, N-A-P-I. Just got into my second ball of that. And then I'm also going to have a brown that will be on it won't be the whole sleeve, like the sleeve will be in this color and then the ribbing will be in the brown on both sleeves and on the bottom. So instead of choosing 4 contrast colors, I just went with 3 because I didn't want to have, a ton of leftover yarn, and I didn't have anything in stash in this base to use. And then my final color is going to go on the pocket. So there will be a pocket right here, and I will have this color, which I think will be really fun. Wow, it's looking very bright on the camera. It's not quite that bright, although I did want it to stand out. I think that's going to be really, really pretty. This one is Big Sky Sunset, and the brown, I've just got all the labels here. This is the brown. Not quite sure how to say that one. Little Wapiti, maybe? So my next step for this, I was rolling on this when we first got to Alaska. We were doing a lot of flying, a lot of driving. I was doing a lot of knitting on it. The last few days, I haven't done quite as much knitting, even though now I'm just working in the round. So you would think I would be getting more done, but I am not. So I think to keep this interesting, and because there's something that gives me such great pleasure to have all the finishing done on the sweater and just be working on it round and round. So I think on the plane tomorrow, I'm going to pick up my first sleeve. We have a really long flight. Well, not super, super long, but it's the longest flight I've ever been on. I think it's going to be almost 7 hours, like on the plane itself. So I'll pick up the first sleeve, work through as much of that as I can. Probably won't finish it because even though it's a short sleeve, it's still a really deep armhole, so it's going to be a lot of stitches. So work on that, then maybe I'll do, a little more on the body, and then maybe do the second sleeve. And then that way I will have all of the top part of this done. It will look like a full and complete sweater with just this going on it. So there's a couple reasons why I like to do that. One, just to keep my interest, because now, as I said, I basically just have a stockinette project going on. It's kind of like a big sock, not super exciting, convenient for having something easy to bring with me, but not always the most stimulating project to do. So there's no reason, there's no rules that you can't go out of order on a sweater. Sometimes you have to do some pieces first before you can do the others. Like I couldn't add the collar until I had all of the increasing everything done. And I couldn't add in the sleeves until I had at least a little bit of the body going. Like probably once I had an inch going, I could go ahead and pick up the sleeves, but I couldn't do that one row in. So, there's limitations, but there's no reason I have to finish the entire body before I can come back and do the sleeves. The other reason I like to do that is it's very, very helpful with yarn management. So if you're not 100% sure if you'll be able to add length to your sweater, if that's something you want to do, and you're like, I really want to have sleeves, then if you do the sleeves first, you'll know exactly how much yarn you're going to have left. You don't have to play that yarn chicken or finish one sleeve, the body of your sweater, and not have enough for a second sleeve, that's a bummer. You'd rather maybe take off, an inch of the body of your sweater or use the contrast there. And then the last reason is just because of getting the right fit. It's hard to really tell how this is going to fit. I can block it without the sleeves and the collar and everything, but until I have that, it's not going to be the most accurate tell if I like the fit or if I like the style. So once I have the sleeves and everything in there, I could go ahead and block it. I mean, I could try it on now. It looks really tiny, doesn't it? It's supposed to be like 40 inches. I don't know. It looks kind of small, but also like it hasn't been blocked yet, and it should. I don't want to like bump my microphone, but it is kind of hitting my, what are those called? The ends of your shoulders, clavicle? No, the clavicle's here. What are these called? Where they stick up? I don't know. It is kind of hitting that like seam where it needs to be. So I feel like this is right. This is a little bit more of a fitted piece. I did choose a slightly larger ease than maybe was recommended, and I'm already happy that I did that because I just know myself and I know I like a little more ease. All in all, I'm really still enjoying this project. It's been lovely yarn to work with. This is my first time doing an Emily Curtis pattern. I'm happy with the pattern. It's been really, really great. So hopefully next week, maybe I will have a sleeve or two to show you. And there's a small part of me that thinks I could possibly get this almost done before we go on our next leg of the trip. So maybe not done before we get back to Nashville in about 12 days, but possibly done before we get back in the van again. And the reason that would be really great is then I wouldn't have all of the extra project stuff that comes with it. I would just have a finished t-shirt to bring with me, leaving me more space for another sweater project. The other project I've been working on this week is in my chalk bag from Cotopaxi because I've been taking it hiking, but also just because I don't have another project bag. I do have it in a yarn cozy, which I added a handle to, which has been handy. Somebody told me that they were able to hook this on, the little latch, when you're on an airplane, the little latch that holds up your tray table. I think they were able to put that on there, which is great because then you're not having to worry about things rolling around on an airplane. I'm going to do better this time on this flight because I won't have multiple balls of yarn attached to things, so it's a little more easy to manage. So I have been working on my Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague. This is going to be for Kent. I'm using a yarn from Bumblebee Acres, and I don't think I brought the label with me, but it's called It Comes in Pints. And I have done a couple of inches, here we go, from this marker. Yeah, actually more than just a couple, maybe close to 3 inches. So it's trekking along. My goal is to finish this for Rhinebeck, so I've still got plenty of time. Now that I have 2 projects that are in this stage of stockinette, I've kind of been like, I'm only really working on this if I'm doing something that requires standing or movement, because my other project for me right now is a little more exciting. So the sweater is getting a little more work on it than the hat. The hat is kind of just if I need a project that I can take out and about with me. It's also been a little chilly here, so it hasn't been very easy to hike with my knitting. We were somewhere today where it was like raining and cold, so I didn't bring it with. I brought it with me, but I didn't get the chance to work on it. But I did take it on a couple of hikes over the past week. We've gone to a lot of really beautiful places and done a lot of really pretty drives. And I've just been, it's raining right now. It's kind of a beautiful, kind of hard but misty rain. It's pretty. But yeah, I haven't been knitting at every opportunity in the last few days. I think I've just been really exhausted. And then, just taking in all the beauty that is Alaska. So we'll see if some of that motivation kicks back up a little bit over the next week. We have not just the flight from here to Hawaii, but also several flights in between, and then a very long journey back to Nashville. We have been vlogging our time in Alaska, so getting lots and lots of different clips of just the things that we've seen, the animals, the food that we've been eating. So I'm not going to go into major detail here for in our travels. This vlog will be coming out pretty soon, I believe. So you'll get to see all of the details there if that's something that interests you. Just a brief recap here, and I'm going to share more of the yarny stuff that we've been getting up to over the last week. So where we left off, we were in Seattle in Washington for our second day of Flock. I ended up not buying a thing at Flock, which I feel kind of terrible about because I would have loved to support a lot of those vendors. And there were so many things I saw that I really liked. But by the time we were done with that second day, we had been filming for so long that my energy was just zapped. Like I didn't even really have the creative or mental energy to go shopping. And so I just spent time hanging out with the friends that I came with, and reserving that energy for other things that were, work related. And so not to hang out with friends. I had like another work thing to do after and many more things to come. So anyway, I just didn't do any shopping and I semi regret that, but also it was a good thing because anything I bought, I was going to have to ship back to Nashville, but just because I didn't have space in my carry-on. But not to worry, I have gotten some things here in Alaska and I'm glad I reserved the space for that because this is a place I'm probably not going to get back to. And I'd already been to Washington and bought some Washington yarns. So I do have those in my blanket, which is good. Okay, so early Monday morning, we flew from Seattle to Alaska. It's about a 3.5-hour flight from Seattle to Anchorage, which is where we landed. We picked up a rental car and drove immediately to Denali National Park, where we stayed for 2 nights outside of the park in, I don't remember what the town is called. We stayed at a campground in a cabin, like a 1-room cabin. You'll see it in the vlog. It's a very unique stay. Basically just a bed, but it was great. And we spent a full day on Tuesday and then a partial day on Wednesday in Denali National Park. We went on a bus tour one day and got to drive past the road that closes to like civilian cars, and you get to go a little bit further into the park. We did a hike down a riverbed, and then we hopped back on the bus, went back down. We saw moose, we saw grizzly bears. We sort of saw a caribou, but it was so far away, it was hard to make out. And then also we would see mountain goats, or no, I'm sorry, I think they were sheep. Doll sheep, I believe, but they were just these little white dots. So you really couldn't see those either. We should have brought binoculars, but we just didn't think about that. And the binoculars we have are a little bit bulky, so we probably need some like small binoculars for a future trip. Maybe that's something that we will grab. Now, when we were driving around Healy, which is the town around Denali, we saw, to our great delight, a yarn store. Okay, so my great delight. It's called Polychrome Fibers, and it is a brand new yarn store that just opened this year. They're open for the summer. So we were like, well, we have to go check that out. So we went in, and it's a smaller shop, but they have a ton in there, and they're focused on all Alaskan diner. What is wrong with me? I told you, I'm tired. Alaskan dyers and artists, and it's mostly yarn and fiber. So I got some of the yarn that the owner dyed, and her dye company is also called Polychrome Fibers. And this is a really pretty pink kind of greigey bay because it's on a yak base, and the yak color has that like brown to it. This is called Alaska Spring Beauty, 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. So I was like, well, this was a nice, pleasant surprise. So I can totally put this in my blanket. But my plans for it are actually to create another Musselburgh hat with another yarn. So stay tuned. That will be coming in just a second. So on Wednesday, after a couple days at Denali, we drove back to Anchorage and we had our first yarn store tour at Cabin Fever. It's also been previously called Woolly Mammoth. So we have 2 yarn store tours that we filmed while we were here in Alaska. Figured that Alaska is a state that not everyone will have the chance to get to. I never thought I was going to get to Alaska, and I'm so grateful to be here. So we thought, while we're here, let's just go to more than one place. So the 2 yarn stores we went to carry different things, and we had dedicated 2 days to filming. So we filmed at Cabin Fever, and that's when I picked up this very exciting and special yarn. So you're going to hear all about it from the employees that work at this yarn store. So I will try to do my best to give this justice. This is Kiviot yarn. Kiviot comes from a musk ox. It is notoriously expensive, but we learned a lot about why it is expensive. And it's also very rooted in the history of Alaska. So the musk ox lives here. We did see some at a wildlife preserve, but I don't know if they're in the wild. I actually don't know too much about it, but the muskox is very much part of the history here. And they don't have a coat like a lamb or sheep or whatever. They have hair that falls off, so it can be gathered from plants and such, or it can be combed off of them if the muskox are like on a farm or something and they're vaccinating them, they will comb them. But then the other thing, so it's very rare and there's not a lot of fiber to work with. So that's one thing that contributes to the cost. Then the other thing we learned is that the fibers are actually hand sorted and put together. Like everything that's 3 inches is put together, everything that's 4 inches, everything that's 5 inches. There's honestly probably not 3-inch muskox hairs that are used because those are pretty short. But it just contributes to how much is done by hand for something like this. And it just makes it a stunning and beautiful fiber. So it is extremely lightweight and extremely warm. The hairs are I think they're hollow, which makes them hold on to heat more. All of this that I'm sharing with you is secondhand information. I might have gotten a couple of the details wrong. So if you know more about the muskox and the fibers and everything and can share anything about it, please do. Please, as always, feel free to correct me when I say the wrong thing, because sometimes my memory gets it a little wrong, or I just flub up some things, and I'm totally fine with being corrected. But this is Kiviot, and I'm so excited. So the Kiviot yarn is a darker color, and then the owner of Cabin Fever dyes this one. So I thought it would be very lovely to pair these 2 yarns together to make a Musselburgh hat. So this will be the outside, and this super soft, really luxurious fiber will be the lining, and I won't plan to reverse it. I will just always wear it with this part on the inside. It will be super warm, and I'm really excited because I've never worked with Kiviot before. And before we came up here, a couple people said to me, "Are you going to get Kiviot?" And I was like, "Yes, I would like to." And then they said, "What are you going to do with it?" Because I have bought Kiviot in the past and it's so expensive that I don't want to mess it up or make the wrong thing. So I'm hoping to make this hat as soon as I finish Kint's, and that way I will be the tester for how it goes with the Musselburgh hat. So maybe I'll be able to provide at least one project that you can feel confident about using your precious yarn for. So that was really fun. We enjoyed our time there. Then on Friday, we went to Kenai Fjord. So from Anchorage, we drove about 2 hours south down to Seward. We got on a boat and we spent 7.5 hours on this boat looking at wildlife and glaciers, and holy smokes, it was amazing. I'm gonna leave most of it for the vlog. The exciting thing, even though Kenai Fjords is a national park, we were on the water the entire time, which is not technically in the park. So we were able to get video, which is not something we can usually do when we're in national parks. We typically share photos because commercial filming is not allowed without a permit. And so we were able to get a lot of video. So I'm just going to save all that for the vlog. But we saw a ton of wildlife, a ton of sea life. Glaciers are the coolest thing. They're not just ice. If you're like, glaciers are just ice, no. They are, but then like there's so much more than that. And they're they look blue, which is really cool. So anyway, we'll put a couple pictures in for today, but check out the vlog. I think it's going to be coming out next week, and you can just see a lot more of how incredible Alaska is. Last thing, on Saturday, we went to our second yarn store, Far North Yarn, and we filmed another tour, and then we hung out and got to meet a bunch of people, which was really lovely. We held a little meet and greet, and it was actually very busy. I was so pleasantly surprised how many people came for that. And it was just a lovely, lovely time. And even before that, we were having a great time filming the tour. And the owner gifted me this hand-dyed yarn from an Alaskan dyer called, I think it's strawberry blonde fibers. And look how pretty this is. Super bright, super fun, with a little sparkly mini there. So I've got another thing I can add to my blanket, which I'm really excited about. Also, they get candles made for their shop that say Far North Yarn Co. on them. And so I got this one called Snow Day. And it smells really, really good. They have a lot of them that they change out seasonally, which is so fun. And then the owner also makes stitch markers. So she gifted me some of those as well with their signature snowflake, which is so fun. So I've got lots of awesome Alaska goodies to take back with me. And remember, one of the best places that we've been, I think Alaska, Alaskans, in our experience, have been some of the friendliest people that we've met. Not saying that other people are not nice or kind, but there's something special about Alaska that I just can't really put my finger on. And I think that the people here are just really kind-hearted. So we're going to miss being here. It's been a really, really amazing week. I'm looking forward to Hawaii, of course. But I think we're going to have to come back to Alaska. This past week's videos include Flock Fiber Festival. You're going to see about almost 30 Washington vendors in that video. That was a crazy weekend of filming, but so much fun. And I think our video came out great. So if you want to just get like the quickest preview of as many Washington vendors as possible and a sense of what Flock is like, hey, watch that video and you'll get it in just a little less than a half hour. You'll get a good taste of all of that. Then we had our Warm and Woolly tour come out on Saturday. Warm and Woolly is in North Branch, Minnesota. Really lovely store. Caitlin, the owner, is a crocheter and really emphasizes crochet in her store, but she's also a knitter and brings in knitters, and it's just a lovely community. So go watch that tour if you haven't already. And then coming up this weekend, we are going to be sharing with you our North Dakota stop. It is technically not exactly a yarn store. It is so much more than that. There is yarn there. There is a lot of yarn there. It is Nome Schoolhouse, and it's one of the coolest places, most unique places that we've been. It is in a really tiny town in Nome, North Dakota, and these two women bought and renovated over a schoolhouse that was 100 years old and turned it into this incredible hotel, like boutique hotel, event space for fiber events, classes, and then they also have a store. They also have a mill. It is just, there was so much more there than we even expected, like looking online, and we had the best day there. So you're not going to want to miss that one. That will be this upcoming Saturday. What is the date for upcoming Saturday? The 24th of August at 12 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be 6 a.m. for me in Hawaii, but I will be there. I will be there on the premiere, chatting with you, maybe a little bit sleepy, drinking my coffee for sure. Okay, I have a few more events to share with you. I am almost caught up on events that you have been sharing with me in my email. I have like 5 more emails left to open, but they take a strangely long time to add the details to the website. It really shouldn't take that long. I think it's because I only have one computer screen, or it's just me. But anyway, I'm just trying to add a few here and there every week for the podcast. So here are the new ones that I have added this week. And hopefully by next week, I will be all caught up and have all of them on there. But you can find all the events at any time at knittynatty.com by going to Yarny events. I'm also starting to keep a backlog of past events so that it will be even easier next year to share all of those with you. Actually, it's funny, I can see Kent making all of the, what is it called? The text that will go on the podcast here. He's going through and copying all the things. Should I type him a message? Hi, Kent. We'll see if he sees it. Okay. First event is going on right now. It is the Great Tennessee Yarn Tour in Tennessee, mostly eastern, like central to eastern Tennessee. It started August 3rd and it goes through the 31st. We went on the Great Tennessee Yarn Tour last year. It's actually kind of what kicked off this whole adventure. We weren't in Lydia yet because Lydia, our van, needed some maintenance. So we left her in Nashville, went on this yarn tour, and then came back, got Lydia, and went to Kentucky. So I consider Tennessee our very first state, but Kent says we weren't in Lydia yet. So whatever, tomato, tomato. The next event is DFW Fiber Fest. It is in Irving, Texas, which is the Dallas-Fort Worth area, September 20th through the 22nd. This is a fiber festival I've attended for many, many years, having lived in Texas. Sadly, we will not be there this year because we're going to be in the Northeast finishing up our 50 states. But it's a fantastic fiber festival, lots of classes, loads of fun. So check that out. I think they're doing a Friday night event. They usually do a Friday night event, so check that out. I'm not sure if the tickets have already sold for that. The Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival is in Berryville, Virginia, September 28th and 29th. It is at the Clark County Ruritan Fairgrounds, and it's a $5 ticket for admission. The Best Little Yarn Crawl is in Texas in the Austin, San Antonio area, October 11th through the 20th. There are 8 shops included on that yarn crawl. We've been on that one a few times, but it's been years. There were like 20 shops or something on it the last time that we went. I don't remember if we made a video because I don't know how much I was doing YouTube stuff then. It's a possibility, but it's a great yarn crawl. So check that out if you're in the area. Last one that's new I have for you this week is the Simi Valley and Central Coast Yarn Shop Hop in California, October 18th through the 20th. 7 yarn shops all along the highway. They have a map on their website, and I didn't look too closely at it, but it's basically one of the highways that goes along the coast. It could be the 1 or the 101 or something. We've been to one of the yarn stores on this crawl, Old Orcut Yarnery. Fantastic. They've recently expanded their store and brought in their own yarn line. So I can definitely vouch for that one. But I feel like all the yarn shops in California have been amazing. So, you know, it's kind of the perfect road trip already mapped out for you. I mean, literally they're along the highway, like evenly spaced. So it would be a fun thing to go on over that weekend. Okay, Kent didn't say hi back. Wow, I'm offended. That's really sad. I think that is everything for this week. Thank you, as always, for watching, and I will see you in the next one in Hawaii. Bye!